So, the Trump administration wants to ban porn and criminalize sex work to an extreme that we have not seen in a very long time. And a shocking amount of young people support these bans and support the criminalization of these sex workers, but they're doing it under the guise of woke. You will often see rad films throw around things like, you can't pay for consent, consent cannot be bought. All sex work is inherently centered around the male gaze and then is inherently centered around the oppression of women, etc., etc. But this argument leaves out many key factors, such as, for example, most sex workers in the world are not cisgender women, they are queer people. Most sex workers are not white women, they are people of color. While, yes, there are many trafficking victims in the world, and that should be acknowledged, when you typically think of the porn you are thinking of, the porn that is high quality and consensually made with actors in a controlled, legalized industry, that is the porn that should be supported, because then we are able to actually help the victims of trafficking to get rid of the legalized, controlled industry that protects its actors is to not support the victims of trafficking. Sex workers who are being trafficked, sex workers who are the victims of drug abuse, sex workers who are the victim of physical abuse, when they are starving, when they are getting into strangers' cars, when they are struggling, it is impossible for them to ask for help in a world where porn and sex work is illegal, because they will just be arrested. They will be punished as the sex worker. We already see this in modern day all the time with escorts and contact sex workers trying to receive help for abuse in some way and being jailed themselves, with the abusers typically getting off scot-free because Johns are never punished the same way workers are. To be pro sex work is to not be pro trafficking, but it is to recognize that sex work is a job, it is labor, and just like any other force of labor needs unions, needs support, and needs legal recognition, so do sex workers. All labor is shaped by exploitation of the body. All labor is. Sex work is not a special exploitation of the body. It is the same as any other labor. And supporting the rights and self actualization and self organization of these laborers is the only true way to protect women and queer people in these industries. To treat them as people with jobs who need rights instead of objects to be pitied and to be punished. That is true liberation. You will not save sex workers by outlawing porn and by punishing them as creators further. Punishing their sexual exploits further will not give them the safety you think it is. It will only make things so much worse. A conservative view of sex has never been on the right side of history, and that continues on with a conservative view of labor never being on the right side of history. To be progressive is to be pro-sex work. To be a feminist is to be pro-sex work because you support sex workers and their rights as laborers. Do you support workers' rights or not?